Right, on the taxation front, let's also connect with Pratik Jain, taxation expert from PwC India, is joining us online. Pratik, what expectations are you tracking on that front? There is a lot of hope that growth-oriented budget tradition is going to be taken forward. On the taxation front, what can one expect?
I think Deepshika has already mentioned, we are not expecting too much on personal income tax, right? I mean, last year budget, there was a large relief which was given to common taxpayers, and with the GST cut, collectively between income tax and GST, I think more than 2 lakh crores is what the government gave already. And there is hardly any fiscal room available for that. Having said that, I think the government has tried in the personal income tax for the last 2-3 years to make the new income tax regime more attractive. So I'll not be surprised if they tweak the concessions or maybe bring in 1 or 2 incentivization for the new tax regime to become more attractive, but that will not be very significant. On the other part, on the customs duty, we are expecting some rationalization. We have currently 8 different slabs under customs, so it could be reduced to 4 or 5. Some of the items might see custom duty reduction. If you recall, in the last budget, things like bourbon whiskey, bikes, etc., we had reduced the duty. At that point in time, there was a discussion, more active discussion between India and US for the trade agreement. Now, in view of India and EU FTA, which has just been signed, of course, it will become effective in 1 year's time. You might see some tinkering. You might see some of the items where the custom duty rates might be reduced. There might be some incentive for, of course, Make in India and exports. Economic survey does call out these 2 areas as major sort of thrust areas for the government. So some kind of a tax incentive for new investment is possible. And also, there is a possibility that units operating in special economic zones who do not have export market right now will be incentivized to sell more in domestic market. There, the duty might be on the raw materials and all of that which is imported. So on which whatever duty is foregone, they might have to pay that when it is cleared from SEZ. If this happens, it will be a major benefit for the SEZ segment, and it will unlock a large amount of domestic capacity which we have. So nothing earth-shattering, frankly, on the tax, but I think the aim would be to incentivize more manufacturing and find newer ways of doing exports.
Pratik, the new Income Tax Act also comes into play later this in the upcoming financial year. So big reform also in the pipeline.
Yes, so the new Income Tax Act will be effective from 1st April this year, and therefore, in view of that, there is it's not expected to have like any major change. So an idea is to get into a more simplified tax regime. You might see some simplification on the forms and TDS and those kind of this thing, just from an ease of doing business perspective. And of course, there'll be more digitization, and that would mean that for a common taxpayer, it'll be much easier to do compliances. So some of those things you might see, but again, nothing major expected on income tax front.
Right. Pratik, building on the point that you had made earlier, that customs duties may come down in terms of the slabs that we have currently. In the past, many budgets, I remember seeing that the customs duty have been increased on certain components or certain final products just to give a boost to Make in India. But here again, there has to be a balancing act because a lot is covered in the FTAs too. So only what remains outside the fold of these 22 FTAs that have already been stitched by India so far would be really in the realm of tweaking. So do you think that a lot of thought is going to go into how to ensure that there is Make in India getting a boost through any tweaks in custom duties, while ensuring that there is export competitiveness and also import competitiveness, because we cannot produce everything. We need to import as well. That is also required by the Indian economy. So in that sense, how do you see it?
Yes, you're right. So what is likely to happen, and Finance Minister has gone on record to say that they are looking at a big bang customs reform now. So what does this reform mean? The first thing which it means is that there should be simplification of this rate slab or structure. So you might have 3 or 4 structure, the lowest duty for the raw material, then slightly higher for the intermediary products, and then slightly higher for the finished product. That's how the government has gone about it. If you recall, for electronic manufacturing under phased manufacturing program, first the duties were increased on mobile phones, then it was brought down to things like batteries, then it was brought down on things like components of batteries. So idea is to give duty benefit for raw material and components more. So I don't think that there'll be custom duty increases in a lot of cases. Of course, there could be sector where domestic industry might need some more protection, and therefore those might be selective. I also think that there will be incentive which will be given to things like EVs, lithium-ion batteries, semiconductor, and so on. So idea is to see which are the sectors that we want to sort of incentivize, and accordingly the customs structure will follow. So and also a lot of exemptions are going away under customs. So we are expecting some calibration on those exemptions as well, and some of the exemptions might go away, and some of the exemption might continue in some form.